Father, forgive them.
Welcome to the Jesus and Jones podcast. I'm your host, Andon Jones, and my co-host is Thomas Kaiser, and our guest today is Benaiah Atchison. And Benaiah Atchison is a student director at the Church of the Highlands Huntsville campus, and he is someone that I would consider, I know Thomas would consider, he is a brother to us. We've been through so much, and we've lived so much life together, and we're so appreciative. Not only is me like I would consider my brother, but for Thomas, he's a literal brother-in-law.
Brother, I never had right here.
Yeah. It's like literal, like his sister is married to Ben.
Yep.
And we're just so excited, and we're just so thankful to have you on today. Like, seriously.
Yeah. Well, thank y'all for having me. Super excited. As soon as y'all asked me, it was an instant yes. And so love you guys. Thankful for y'all. Excited to get to talk about some good stuff.
Let's go. Okay. And one thing that just so people know, and it's not just hey, I just gave the title. Everybody's like, that's cool, but what does that mean? Especially just with Highlands and the culture. What do you do for your job as a student director?
Yeah, so student director, you can pretty much interchange that to student pastor or youth pastor. So with the Huntsville campus, Church of the Highlands, we have about 26 locations. And so I help oversee all of our middle school, high school, and then some college students as well with the Huntsville campus in Huntsville, Alabama.
This is what I want to do. This is, why I want to do it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, gotcha. Ministry was never really the plan, if I'm being 100% honest.
Okay.
Especially in high school, because middle school, you're just trying to survive, right? Like you're not really thinking about post-high school, college, career. But really in high school, so I grew up having kind of a film background, growing up on movie sets, TV shows, music videos, commercials. And so just being around that, it was always so attractive to me, like just that draw for film and television. So the dream, probably sophomore year to junior year, until the Lord started changing my heart a little bit, was to be a cinematographer for different types of movies, films, television series. So I was actually going to move to New York City and go to NYU and major in film, and then hopefully make the big time. So that was my plan. And the Lord, he has a sense of humor, and so I said that's what I was going to do. And now I'm here, a youth pastor in Huntsville, Alabama. So completely different. I think really how I got plugged into serving in full-time ministry. That wasn't always the plan, but God slowly started to change my heart, especially when I first got plugged into Church of the Highlands at the River Chase campus. So around Helena, Pelham, Hoover area in Alabama. And from there, got connected to the student ministry and really just met people who genuinely loved me, genuinely cared about me, poured into me, invested into me. And so being around Highlands, you obviously hear about Highlands College. And so when I heard about it, I was like, no, I'm not really interested. I kind of like my plan for what I got going on.
Yeah.
And then from there, just God started slowly shifting that. So it was, hey, I'm going to go to NYU, but I'll go to Highlands College first. Hey, I'm going to go to Highlands College and then go to UAB and actually do computer science, which was so random. I had no idea what I was doing in my life.
I took that one from you.
Yeah. Hey, thank you.
I got that one for you.
Yeah, thanks.
You covered your whole flow.
Yeah, you are living. Yeah, exactly. So thank you for that. I would living the dream. I would hate if I decided to do that and not do what I'm doing now. Then slowly just turned into where it was just Highlands College, and didn't really know what that looked like. Didn't really know what area of ministry I'd want to go into. Like student ministry was on my radar. Creative ministry, obviously because of film and just that creative background, and then pastoral ministry. And really throughout Highlands College, long story short, Lord really just shifted my heart to students, honestly. And really just what I experienced at River Chase, having those older leaders, those Highlands College students, like my youth pastor pouring into me. I wanted to do that exact same thing for other students, for other young people, just because, like, especially nowadays, y'all, what middle school and high school students and even college students are going through, like, it's insane. Like, a lot of it is
Crazy.
it's even like more crazy than what I experienced. And I went to public school, y'all. If you're a public school survivor, like, hey, you made it. You can do anything.
I'm taking full. There's not many out there these days that are. It's kind of sad. Not many out there these days that are in the church world that are like survived public school. Like if you manage to get in that enviment after going through public school, grace to God, bro.
Grace to God at that point.
Yeah. No, really.
Yeah, for real. So yeah, that's a little bit just about, long story short, just called to ministry. It wasn't ever on my radar. And it wasn't a one-time thing where God was just like, no, like I didn't hear the audible voice of God saying, you are going to be a youth pastor. Like, no, it was just God slowly shifting my perspective, shifting my angle of where I was going to go, and then just end up being here and thankful to be here. So.
Yeah, and like one thing I most definitely say is like, just so people don't, like people who do know, or I mean people who don't know, like for you, how were you so involved, like with the production and all these things? Like for you, what caused that passion even to be creative and to be so technical with not only production, I did it again, not only with production, but just like being just creative minded? Like where did that come from?
Yeah, I mean, I think growing up around just like, I mean, because movie sets, like being on camera, being behind the scenes, obviously there was just, because honestly, like that's the coolest thing to me, right? Like, just showing like the process of it, being a part of the process. And really too, like big influences, obviously my dad, he was a movie producer, worked for ad agencies, worked with the creative department at Highlands for a little bit. So he was obviously a big inspiration for me, and having kind of that creative touch. I think also as a kid, like, you know, loving to draw. I was a big Lego guy, still kind of.
No, you're still a big Lego guy.
Oh, you know I am.
Oh yeah.
The Lego guy.
But really just like that creativity. And I think especially like our generation kind of is a little bit more creative than we've seen in past generations. Just because I think technology helps a lot with that. But our generation is very, YouTube, like how to, you can find out how to do anything nowadays. But yeah, I think, and you know, I still have that creative muscle. I don't, use it or flex it as much, obviously just doing, what I'm doing now. It comes out in different ways, but it is a different, everyone's creative, but, it was more of an artistic, videography type of creative muscle. So, but I don't use that nearly as much as I probably should anymore. So
that stuff is so cool. That's so cool. I would love to do that professionally.
Yeah.
Do we know? Would any listeners know like any movies your dad's worked on?
Man,
been like on set for? Or they like not. These are deep in the bag, kind of.
I think the biggest one would probably be Woodlawn, if I had to guess. Woodlawn. I forgot what year. I was like 12, y'all, when that came out. I was in Woodlawn. Fun fact. You see me for probably 2 seconds. I was next to my dad, my fake dad. A movie dad who looked homeless, and just yelling at the players. And that was it. And that was my 2 seconds of fame. I was in another movie called Summer Snow, which nobody on the entire face of the planet has ever seen that movie. Guaranteed. Summer Snow. And then Grace Unplugged, which you've probably never heard of before. I'm trying to think what else. And then just a lot of behind the scenes for different music videos and stuff like that. So not anything.
That's
you
would
so sick.
Music videos. Ooh.
Yeah. Hey, Thomas Rhett. Y'all probably have heard that name.
Everybody knows Thomas Rhett.
Started with that, dog. You should have started with that.
Die a Happy Man. The music video in Hawaii. I was there. Me and my mom brought Thomas Rhett and his sweet wife Lauren to their Airbnb. Not trying to flex.
Fire.
Not trying
to flex. I couldn't drive at the time, so I was just in passenger.
Yeah, he was just chilling.
I was like 12 or like 11. So
that's so fire, and it's like it's even cool. Like shout out your dad. Like shout out Dan the man. Because
and the man
would love to have him on. Actually, like would love to have him on most definitely.
Yeah.
Because just the man of God that he is and how he's been able to like honestly lead by example for you, you know, and like I mean, of course, so many other people, but lead by example for you that like now you look at it big picture wise, it's like, man, like you're following in his footsteps in so many different ways. But it also just shows that like everybody's story is different. Like literally everybody's story is different.
Yeah.
To get back on like your role though.
Yeah.
What does like big picture, because we can do today, like what does a day look like for you? It can be like a Wednesday or a Sunday, or let's be more ideal, like a motion night look like for you. What does a week look like?
Yeah.
Leading up to something like motion night, and then what does a month look like of like preparing for the next motion night and what's going to happen with that?
Yeah. So you're asking just,
and also,
go ahead.
You know, like what's a brief in one sentence? What's motion night?
Yeah, sure, 100%.
For the people, for the people.
For the don't know, right?
People. For the people who aren't on that Highlands Club.
Yeah. So, so really, our monthly model is for middle school and high school students specifically. We meet every Wednesday from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Depending on the Wednesday that falls into in the month, it looks a little bit differently. So first Wednesday of the month, you have our first Wednesday service, and that's whole congregation. That's family. That's anywhere from, the 2-year-old to the 80-year-old. Everyone being a part, going to a little bit of a deeper teaching. That's really what we call our family night. And then kind of what you guys were saying about motion night. So Motion Night is our big evangelistic service that we host. That only happens at about 10 campuses. For the Huntsville campus specifically, we provide transportation, about 2 buses, to the Madison campus, which is about 30 minutes away from the Huntsville campus. And the reason why we combined is because students go where the numbers are. And since that is our evangelistic service, to kind of really just wanting to create an environment to where a student who is saved, plugged in, feels comfortable inviting their lost student who has never been to a church service. And so if you're walking in, and because I remember when I was a student and I was not saved going into Emotion Night, I did not want to be seen. I didn't want anyone knowing who I was. I didn't want anyone there. And so the more people that are there, the more you'll feel unseen. And so that's the reason why we combined, create a great experience for students, lost students. And so from there, that's Motion Night. It'll look like a big after parties afterwards. We had a 3-point contest for March Madness this past week. Like we had corn dogs, we had popcorn, nachos.
How'd you do on the 3-point?
Listen, I didn't make the 6th grade basketball team for a reason. But it was actually cool. One of the students that I invited, he plays for a local high school team around here, and I invited him, and he ended up winning the 3-point competition.
Oh, nice!
That's far.
And like we gave him $100 Nike gift card. That is not a bad first night at
most
definitely.
He's coming back.
Yeah,
he's coming back. He's famous now.
Right.
I hope he comes back and he didn't just swindle us. Just
it's an investment.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's a little bit about Motion Night. And then, so you have first Wednesday, and then Motion Night happens on the second Wednesday of the month. And then the remaining Wednesdays, so 3rd, 4th, and 5th Wednesdays, you have what's called Motion Midweek. And that's across all campuses. And so really it is more discipleship based. So Motion Night is evangelistic, and then midweek is discipleship. So students will be in small groups. We break them off based off their grade and gender. So you'll have the 6th grade guys all the way up to the 12th grade senior girls who are about to graduate. And so that's really where discipleship happens. So that's kind of what we look like on a monthly scale. I think your other question was just leading up to Wednesday nights. Was that kind of look like? Correct?
Most definitely.
So really for me, majority of the time with Motion midweek, I'm speaking for about 20 minutes. So leading up to that, that's a lot of message prepping, praying through, communicating with team, just because that's more local. Motion Night, since we broadcast from our main location in Birmingham, the Grants Mill campus, it's a little bit less preparation content wise, but a little bit more because we have to set up on different night of the week just because of how intense the setup is, reaching out to schools, inviting students, all that fun stuff. And at Motion Night, some of the time, since it's myself and another student director, will kind of share the role of hosting the night, whether it's I'm closing, doing salvation moment, or I'm opening up, doing a ministry moment. So that's, a little bit of what it looks like. A lot of message prep and just communicating with team, making sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed.
Gotcha. That makes
Awesome.
that makes a lot of sense. It gives a lot of insight. Most definitely.
Mm-hmm. So for instance, like tomorrow night, we'll have our Motion midweek service, and we'll speak about fighting the good fight of faith. And so I'll be speaking for about 20 minutes, and then after that, students will go into small groups, and then the same for next week as well.
Gotcha. All right.
So I imagine you get like a lot of stage time now, right? Like being in that role.
Yeah, for sure. First Wednesdays are a lot of just connecting with students and team. Motion night, I mean, that's maybe 5-7 minutes maximum of I'm on stage with a microphone. And then midweeks are like, hey, I'm hosting before worship and then speaking a 20-minute message. So yeah, a lot of stage time, especially with those last few Wednesdays of the month.
What's that like, like being up there, you've got 20 minutes to try to like give some kind of like quick little word.
Yeah.
Tell me kind of what that's like in like preparing up for that too. Cause I imagine a lot of people, maybe young men trying to get into leadership that might be listening to this podcast kind of like are kind of growing into that, or maybe done that a couple times and want to know, like, I guess what I'm asking is if you were telling someone who'd never done that before, but wanted like advice on giving like a little message or some kind of, preparing leading up to that, what would you tell somebody who's interested in that?
So I would say it's different for everybody, just the preparation process. I know for me, especially just the whole idea around public speaking, early on, I was like so scared of. Like I was like I would literally shake beforehand, like my hands, like I'd have to like close my fists to try and like just kind of chill out. One thing during Highlands College that I learned is the more repetition you have, the more comfortable, more confident you'll feel. And that, like, I have lived that out, especially having to speak. 20 minutes, probably a total of 60 minutes every month in total time. And just the more and more. And like my stomach still, there's a little bit of
butterflies.
The first 15 seconds of getting up there probably like the worst bit. Like getting rolling, I imagine, is the worst part.
Hey guys, welcome.
Having to hold the mic with two hands.
Welcome to church, everybody. I'm so glad.
You're like yelling. So glad that you guys are here.
Hey everyone.
At all. I remember the first when Gracie and I we first were being a part of the student ministry up in Huntsville. Remember my first message I did, and I had the microphone like here, and I was doing this the entire time, like just messing with my ring. And that was, I think we were married probably 5 months, 6 months when that happened. And so you're still kind of getting used to the ring being on your finger, you know what I mean? But yeah, I say definitely with more repetition, the more comfortable you'll feel. And then two, I'd say, that feeling, I've seen very good communicators and talked with very like experienced, like have been speaking for years. And like that feeling, there's still a little bit of that feeling. You know how to step into those moments a little bit better than when you first start out. But especially for me, whenever I prep and I'm starting out, I like to start off very high, a lot of energy, very strong, just because that's a lot easier to you're kind of masking, if you will, just the feeling of any nervousness you might have. And that helps me settle. Like some of the time, like our students just had spring break. So tomorrow night, to kind of settle them in, but also settle myself is like, hey, what'd you guys do for spring break? And like have them kind of pop off, have a lot of fun with it. And then from there, just kind of go into the rest of the night. Preparation wise, I definitely would say practice your message 2 or 3 times before you actually do the thing. Get
Okay.
people involved, get people involved, hearing it, listening to it, looking over your notes, and it's like, hey, does this make sense? Is this heresy? Like, am I like is this the right direction I need to go?
How many you ask people that? Is this
I'm like,
heresy?
well,
Can you
I'll tell
like
them, I'm
Bible
like,
check this real quick?
yeah, I'm like, hey, I think I did pretty good making sure this is like, biblically accurate, but just
No, 100%. That's smart. Yeah.
but yeah, just bring people into it. I probably could do that a little bit better, bringing multiple voices in. But that's what I would say. Take time. You'll find your own style the more and more you communicate. In the beginning, it might not be great. And I know people who are very talented just off the cuff. That's not me. My notes
Yeah.
like 12 pages long. And it's like, for me, it's a script. And, I got my iPad out. Whenever I'm communicating, I can glance over, know where I'm at. I will say too, just knowing where you're going, like having a roadmap of where you're going next. So like for tomorrow night, intro and welcome. I'll welcome first time guests. I'll go into talking about our motion conference. From there, I'll talk about, hey, this is where we're going for this week and next week. Read our main passage of scripture. From there, go into a fun illustration, and then just kind of go into attention piece. And then from there, just kind of go throughout what we're talking about for the night. So I know that was a long answer, but
That's a very detailed answer.
That was the answer.
One thing, like, I guess, because like just diving a little bit deeper into this, what kind of like creative freedoms do you have with that?
Yeah,
because I know it's like the Highlands way, and it's a great way to do things. But for you, like, what creative freedoms do they give you so you can kind of make it a little bit of your own?
Yeah. So honestly, as 26 locations, everyone's like, most campuses have a motion midweek and have someone who's doing that. So really, as a student ministry, like, we feel the tension of like everyone, like, this is the direction across the entire church, across our entire student ministry. Like, this is where we're going to be talking about. But with the whole nitty gritty and details, that's really where I get the creative freedom, liberty to kind of go the direction that I want to go. So basically, a few months in advance, we'll get the content for the upcoming month. And from there, basically all they give us is like, hey, here's a simple outline. Here's the main verse. Hey, keep the main verse. Here are the main points, like, make sure it's in that same direction. You can change the wording, but just make sure that we're all aligned throughout the different campuses on what we're talking about. But then from there, bro, I mean, it's just a ton of, like, I'll tell stories, like different illustrations that other directors might not do. So basically the floor is, hey, here's the main verses. Here are some of the main points. And just here's the direction. You run with it. You take it.
Yeah, that's really cool to hear, because I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, me and you are both, I mean, all of us three, we're kind of out of that, going to motion nights and being in, like, we do student ministry ourselves. Like, we're not in it anymore to the fact that, like, we're the students that have, what I mean? So that's really cool, because, like, when you say campuses, I immediately, like, I think of communities, because it's like, it's all one big church. It's all one big church. It's capital C church, but it's like, there's 26 different communities. With 26 different campus pastors and 26 different student directors, or even sometimes I know they double up. So it's like, that's really almost like, think about that. That's amazing. Like, that's insane. 52. Yeah. And so, that's so cool that it's very like, hey, here's the main things you want to hit on, but it's yours. Like, it's your message. It's God's message, but you get to deliver it the way you want to.
Yeah. And to like, I'll say this and then we can move on, but I mean, like, it's so different from, okay, I'm speaking in Huntsville, Alabama to a group of students versus I'm speaking in Columbus, Georgia to a group of students. And so really, like, obviously having creative freedom, ability, but also to, like, we have a different context here than we would in Birmingham.
Right. Yeah.
So speaking to that context, just because, like, nothing is cookie cutter, like, nothing, it can't be, just especially with times nowadays, different personality types, different giftings, different students, homeschool, private school, public school, go to school, like, everything in between. And so you really have to discern what your context is. And then from there, just having the creative freedom to run with it.
No, 100%.
So Ben, how did you wind up, I guess, not you kind of touched on already how you ended up in ministry, but how did you wind up getting the exact job in Huntsville? Being youth pastor up there and just navigating that for the first time. Like how does one end up there from Highlands College?
Yeah. So with Highlands College, I did the pastoral practicum. Now they're majors. But I did the pastoral just because that's a very broad overview of ministry. You get to choose your specific area of which you'd like to serve. So really, there was a time during Highlands College I wasn't serving in students, which I know sounds weird because it's that's what I do, for full time. But really, I remember not doing student ministry, and I was like, I am not happy at all, whatsoever. And so from there, got plugged in, and then graduated and really if you've never heard of Highlands College, the whole goal is that you're sent out and you're doing full-time ministry, that you're planted in a local church, whether that's Huntsville, Alabama, whether that's my old roommate, he's in Phoenix, Arizona right now.
Amazing.
So really that is just the heart of it. Luke 10:2, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. And so sending out workers into the harvest field. And so around my fourth semester, so my last semester, really that whole, placement, job opportunities are going to come up. And so honestly, I didn't think Highlands was I didn't think I was going to be here at Highlands. But so really the whole story behind Huntsville is I went through different interviews with different churches, did not get back, got
Gotcha.
back. Anywhere from North Carolina, small church in Texas, Pentecostal church in Kentucky, did not get anything back after the interview. And so I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And so for those of you who don't know, my wife's name is Gracie, high school sweethearts, all that fun stuff. We got married right after I graduated, literally a week after we graduated, which I would not recommend. That is a lot.
That is a lot.
Yeah, in hindsight, that was an interesting decision.
Yeah, do at least 2 weeks. At least 2 weeks if you're gonna do it. So it's what are we gonna do? And so we knew we needed to stay in Alabama, just because Gracie, she's doing UAB, University of Alabama at Birmingham. And so just to stay within the state for in-state tuition and scholarships and discounts and all that fun stuff. So we knew we needed to stay in Alabama. And we had heard originally, so you have the Madison area and then Huntsville area. Madison is going to be more west of downtown Huntsville. So it's its own city. And so the Madison campus was originally called the Huntsville campus. And then I originally heard in the summer of 2023 that they were going to launch a new campus in the heart of Huntsville. I mean, we're 5 minutes away from downtown Huntsville.
Wow.
Right there, reaching a new city.
Right where a church needs to be.
Yeah, right where it needs to be.
100%.
And so I originally heard about that, and a lot of the ways that being sent out, a route that you can take is interning at first, and then with the possibility of it turning into a full-time job, or you're being just a little bit more time for interview process to pray through, a little bit more hands-on training. I will say interning is a great way to really get hands-on ministry. And so Gracie and I, we prayed about Huntsville originally, and then I actually got another opportunity to be part-time at Highlands College, working in an executive what's the word? Executive assistant kind of role.
Fire.
So
fancy intern.
Intern.
Fancy intern.
Hence the intern. And so, but I will say, that was a paid internship. And so we looked at interning up in Huntsville, even went up to Emotion Night in Huntsville a week or two before we graduated and before we got married. And so that came up, and then the opportunity with Highlands College came up, really prayed about it. I had a lot of mentors speak into it. And especially since we just got married, both of our families are in Birmingham. We prayed about it, asked all our mentors and just spiritual authority, and it was all aligning with, hey, stay in Birmingham, be in Highlands College, be there for a year, see if anything happens. And so went that route. I was super excited. I was really, really excited. Would still serve in student ministry just as a midweek small group leader. I was a midweek small group leader for 3 years. Saw a group of 8th grade guys turn into 11th graders,
Wow.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
So got into it and started in the summer, and from there, really just it was a great opportunity. It was great. It's what we needed.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. I knew I was supposed to be doing something else. I knew this wasn't what God had for me to do for the rest of my life. And honestly, like there was a little bit like amazing opportunity, like thankful, but like there was a little bit almost of discontentment. Like I remember we have a motion conference, and I was serving in more of that kind of role where I had backstage passes, like literally rubbing shoulders with guest speakers. And I thought to myself during motion conference, man, I would give up all of this. I would do anything to be with my students that I lead at small group right now.
Wow.
And from there, I just like really honestly, there was a little bit of just not bitterness, but like, man, I know I'm supposed. I know I'm not where I'm at right now.
The
like
calling, the calling,
calling. So, and then from there, I literally because we turned down Huntsville, we were like, hey, sorry, like this isn't. I remember praying. I was like, God, if there's any way you can open up that door to go up to Huntsville, like please do. And then 3 months into my paid internship, I get a phone call, like, hey, I know you from Pastor Allen, our campus pastor. Hey, I know that was kind of on the table and decided to take this, but I wanted to see if you would possibly reconsider. And your paid internship turns into a paid internship up in Huntsville. And so from there, Gracie and I, we prayed about it, fasted about it. It was right in the middle of 21 days of prayer in August. And so really prayed about it. And honestly, we were like probably 60-70% sure that this was Huntsville and this is what we were supposed to do. And so took a leap of faith, interned, helped launch a church in a movie theater downtown Huntsville, which was awesome. 4:30 a.m. times. You're staying up or getting up early, staying late. And then eventually got hired on full time, just being close with Pastor Allen, and then also Pastor.
This is still movie theater, right?
Yep, still movie theater.
Really?
Yeah, still, yeah. So we were in the movie theater from September of 2023 to February of 2024. And I got hired on full time March 1st of 2024, which March 1st, my very first day was middle school night hosted at our campus. I was speaking and I was like, man, this is such a jam-packed first day of work.
That's crazy.
That's how a little bit God opened up a lot of doors to make this. And so that's one of the reasons why we were like, this is God. And we felt peace about it. Scary moving to a new city where you don't have any friends or family. Thankful that we took that step of faith.
Yeah. That's amazing. Like I didn't know it was like it was there for that long. As like as a mobile campus, is that what they call it? Portable. There you go. That's the right word. As a portable campus.
Yeah.
Man, that's so crazy. Like, but that's so cool just to see just how faithful you were to like what you feel like God was calling you to do. Because that takes a lot of that's a lot of moving around. That's a lot of just seeing where you need to position yourself and where do you think God wants you, and then like him actually, you feel like him actually answering that question for you and putting yourself like stepping into a role like that. I mean, that's insane. And I guess something that just even like to even go back further from what we could even talk about like at the start is like, how did you get to this moment where you are right now? Like, what is your life story? And like, how did God change your life to where you're speaking to us and you're not that this is a big thing, but that you're speaking to us about your job and you're speaking to students every week and you're pouring into them and God has you exactly where he needs to be right now. Like what happened? What happened with that?
Born in Florida, moved to Alabama probably when I was in kindergarten. So it's just me and my parents. We moved up to Alabama to be closer to family because my older brother, Josiah, had passed away at the age around 5, and I was around 2 when it happened. And so parents, we had no family in Florida, and so all of our family was in Alabama. So decided to move back up. And so growing up, Alabama, public school, all that fun stuff, especially with losing a sibling, like losing a brother, you kind of like go throughout life feeling like you got dealt shorthanded. Like you don't have, and I know there's people out there who have a worse set of circumstances than that, but like just you feel like something was taken from you that shouldn't have been taken from you, and that is the case. So growing up,
100%.
a lot of the time moved up to Helena, Alabama, which nobody, probably only a few know where Helena, Alabama is. But moved there and really just like had great parents, like great childhood, but really did struggle with the whole like religion, like Christianity, and really just like that question that I think a lot of people are asking nowadays, like, why would a good God allow this to happen to me? And so
Absolutely.
growing up, went throughout middle school. Middle school, especially 8th grade, was the hardest time of my entire life. Like the hardest time, which doing what I do now is one of the reasons why, just because I know how hard it was.
School sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the best way to put it. And so around that time, parents were on the edge of divorce. So rough situation happening at home. Had an 8th grade girlfriend, which I tell all middle school students, please do not date. Just don't do it. So honestly, just wasn't a healthy relationship. I don't know if there isn't a healthy relationship if you're in 8th grade. If you have one, like props, good for you, bro.
Very rare, very, very rare.
Hey.
I've never found one.
I've never found one.
Never met a circumstance.
And so funny and all, but like very unhealthy, toxic. I had a solid group of guys around me, and really traded that in for really unhealthy, toxic relationships. Did not have a healthy view of myself at all. In middle school, that's the question you're asking. Who am I? Like when you're in those middle school years, you're trying to figure out who am I? What's my identity in?
Yeah.
So really just honestly found myself in a place where I hit rock bottom.
Wow.
Like, man, life is just not,
Middle
life
school,
is not great at all right now.
Middle school is the place where you're like, I don't know who I am, but I'm not that guy. And I wish I was that guy. I'm not him either. And I also wish I was him. Like, dude,
exactly.
For young men, dude.
You're pulling from everybody.
You really are. You are on, your ministry's on the front line straight up.
Yeah. It's a fun time though. But yeah. And so really just felt a really bad place. And then I had been to Emotion Night before, which is our evangelistic service. But I remember I literally, y'all, like, I couldn't put the language around it like I could now, but like had an agnostic view, like, of God.
Yeah.
Really?
And like when my parents were going through the rough time, like church was very inconsistent. Honestly, wasn't very much of a priority. And so every time we go to church, I just be zoned out. Like I'm falling asleep. Like I am just ready to get back home and do literally anything else.
Yeah.
But and I literally was like, if there's a God out there, like he doesn't care about me, and I don't even think I want to have anything to do with him. Okay, yeah. So I was at a friend's house. It was Easter weekend, and since it was Easter weekend, majority of them were Christian. But the one who we were staying at, like very strong Christian, like family, I'm from a really strong family. And so we were all like s'mores, fireplace, whatever. Like we slept outside in hammocks. Like it was a good time. But he took probably 5 minutes. That's all it took, 5 minutes to sit down. And it's like, hey, y'all, it's Easter weekend. Like, let's not forget why we celebrate Easter. And he just went through like, hey, here's the gospel.
Little 5-minute gospel.
Literally 5-minute gospel. And it was like, gave a short little devotional.
So good.
And I sat in church my entire life. Like I had a relationship more with the church building than I did with Jesus ever. And he gave me,
that's real.
He gave me, like, he just literally was just this student, like my age, peer, just leading a devotional, like a little short Bible study. And from there, like we prayed and whatever, I closed my eyes and I remember like I didn't give my life to Jesus in that moment, but I was like, I might reconsider.
He planted a seed.
He planted a seed. Exactly.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is the best way to describe it.
100%. Yeah.
From there, like life circumstances didn't really change. Life still sucked at the time.
Yeah.
praise God, like my parents are still together now today. Like dad's in full-time ministry too. And
Man's
so
dad is a
God,
campus pastor.
campus pastor at Highlands. So
Big man.
big man. But like it wasn't anything immediate. Honestly, it was just God slowly changing, slowly working on my heart. And then from there, what we talked about with the creative elements, my friend, one of my friends, he was into creative stuff too that I knew at school, plugged into church. And he was like, "Hey, would you want to like take photos and run the Instagram account for youth group?" I was like, "Sure, let's do it." So being around that environment, and then, like I said before, having those leaders see me, pour into me, genuinely care about me, lead my small group, and really from there, that's when God truly started to like work in me. And then from there, it went from more of a, hey, go to church just because like I'm with my friends. I might get something out of it. And then God really, really did change that into, hey, I'm doing this because I love Jesus. Like I have a real relationship with him. From there, got plugged into the student ministry, served the student ministry as a sophomore, junior, senior in high school. And then just never really looked back. So it's a
Crazy.
quick, not so quick, but overview of just my life story, how I got here. So.
But what was the exact moment that like God saved your life and you decided to accept him in your heart? Was it, you said it was that Easter weekend?
Yeah, that was when the seed was planted. Honestly, like,
Okay.
I don't, like
Do you have an exact moment?
I don't really have an exact moment.
Got
if I'm honest. Like it literally, like even too with like the whole calling thing and like going to New York versus now where I'm in Huntsville, Alabama. Like God just like was shifting the direction slowly but surely.
Wow.
So that's kind of just what he was doing. He was working on my heart throughout that whole thing.
Wow.
In ninth grade year of high school, I was like, you had church Benaiah, right? But then you had like school Benaiah who's like cussing out everybody and like making really inappropriate jokes. And then honestly, just from like God started to slowly shift that, really learned what it looked like to have a relationship with Jesus instead of just like a religion. Like, all right, I'm going to church on Sundays. And really just honestly, it was our summer internship as students that we did. And really just the Lord started to really just change my heart and got plugged into really healthy, really godly community. And really just was like fell in love with Jesus, like really just slowly but surely. And but there was no exact moment that I can really recall or go back to. That's like a moment, but yeah.
No, I think that's cool because it's like everybody's story is so different. Like I've probably given my life to, like we give our life to Jesus every day really, but it's like I've given my life to Jesus like a handful of times because I'm like as a kid being so legalistic. I don't know if you're the same way. Like I was always so weird. I'm like, yo, I'm not saved again. Like I got to get saved again.
Yeah.
And so for me, it took moments of like real heartfelt, like honest conversations. Like especially shout out like Austin Brower.
Yeah, bro.
Daniel Ramirez, like
the man.
Real people that they actually,
like
people that really genuinely care about young men.
Yeah,
because they are young men and well, they're grown men now, but like we're young men and they've been through things where they're like, man, like Matthew Brower too, especially. Those were men that definitely poured into my life when I needed it because I was so worried about that I wasn't saved and so legalistic about my life and the enemy was just attacking me in that. And like that segues in like the best. That segues into the best of this question.
Okay, cool.
Because it's who are you pouring into right now? Who are you able to be a Daniel Ramirez, a Matthew, a Austin Brower to right now?
Yeah. So obviously doing what I'm doing. So our youth group is about 100 students at the moment. And so obviously I can't, pastorally mentor and pour into everybody.
Right.
I mean, I try my best to, like when that comes with midweek messages. But really I go back to a handful of students that I'm personally like mentoring, like taking them out to lunch, like texting them. Like I texted some of them today, like, hey, we're in a March Madness bracket. Like, what are we doing? But like really, like, cause I remember, cause you want the balance of, hey, I'm your pastor, but then, hey, I want to be your friend,
Yeah.
Like
we're family.
Yeah, we're family. Like I really do see like with students, like I'm their older brother, And I'm
Yeah.
21. Some of these students, I'm only like 3 or 4 years older than them. And so
Right.
really just that older brother figure, like Chase, Eli, Aiden, like those are some of the students that I'm personally like, hey, there's so much leadership. There's so much potential in you guys, and I just want to help be a part of the journey. So yeah, that's a little bit of who I'm trying to pour into. Just a handful of students.
Now you got to send it to him. You got to send this. You got to send this
Oh,
to him
yeah.
now.
Oh yeah, you got to tell them, hey, shout out, man.
You gotta shout out.
Y'all run Jesus and Jones. You're famous.
Because you can't do that with everybody, and that's why we have about 30 dream team, who that's their role for like their 8th grade guys small group or their 9th.
That's their heart.
That's their heart.
Yeah. Right.
Just because like Gracie and I, we can't pastor and mentor every student, but we can't do for a few what we wish we could do for everybody.
100%. That's like, I think of immediate, like there's all different parts to the body of God, like the body of Christ.
Yeah.
And so for you, it's like you may have more of a directing role of that, an executive role, if you would say, in the really big body of Christ. But it's like, God, everybody you're not always going to be the foot. You're not always going to be the ear. You're not always going to be the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And you have people like that, especially just with Highlands and how good of a job they do with that with the dream team. Mm-hmm. Like you have people that not just because they're like, oh, I'm supposed to do something, because I already have a job and I have kids, but I don't. Like they genuinely want to do this, and that's God gave them that passion and that heart to do that and to serve these students.
Yeah.
So that's amazing.
They're the youth pastors. I like to say like I help lead youth pastors because they really are. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
100%. Yeah.
They're the ones who have the group text with the students.
Going out, telling everybody, hey, you're coming tonight.
Exactly. Like, hey, they're the ones praying for them. They're the ones
outreach.
They're the ones leading like their small group time. So that's how I frame it up. It's like, hey, I'm the one who's leading their youth pastors at our campus.
Yeah. I love that.
So moving into kind of like a little bit more of your spiritual life. What's got you in the Bible right now? Plain and simple. What's the Spirit got you in? Like, if you had to give me an unbiased answer, like not, I'm preparing for this message.
Yeah.
I recommend it. What's the Spirit got you in?
So right now I'm doing the 1-year Bible. So a little bit of Old Testament, a little bit of New Testament, a little bit of Psalm and a proverb. Awesome. I did that for the first time 2 years ago. Yeah. And I loved it. I thought it was great. So did that 2023, did last year 2024, and then doing it right now in 2025. So I'm in Numbers, Luke, and then Psalm and Proverb right now. So like this morning, I read about the birth story of Jesus. And then Numbers, we're in that time where you have Israel who are trying to conquer the promised land, and then Proverbs and Psalms. Proverbs 19 and then Psalm 59 is what I read this morning.
That's such a great like combo.
Yeah.
Because you can they probably intentionally make it so it's not this way. But I can imagine like where you got Numbers and Luke, those are two great,
completely different.
They're easier to get through kind of books of the Bible. Sure, where you could have a week where you got Leviticus and Revelation.
Bro,
that's your two books for the week, bro.
When I was a junior or senior, I did chronological Bible. So it's like this Exodus, Leviticus, probably 3. I was like, I can't do this. I'm out.
Yeah.
I literally gave up.
Some people, bro, but not me.
Yeah.
I'm like a month behind on mine because of Leviticus right now. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's like, all right, time to sit down, spend my time with God.
Yep.
Right, here we are.
And
Leviticus.
Listen, like some of the stuff out of Leviticus, I was like, man, that's good. Like applying it.
Dude.
Some
of
it's like, man,
bro,
what happens. This is what the offering is.
Andon has brought that to small group a couple times to be like, guys, I've been in Leviticus.
Yep.
It's weird, but like, yo, God dropped some nuggets in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because it's like,
Go ahead.
No, no. I want you to say it.
So I was reading in Leviticus and so I'm a big word study guy. Like I like to look back to the original. But I noticed there's basically two differences between being dedicated to the Lord and then being devoted to the Lord out of Leviticus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dedicated is hey, you can dedicate this to the Lord, but you can get it back if you wanted to. Like you had to pay a certain amount to like get that back, add on to it, but you could eventually be getting it back. Devoted is like you are all in. Like you give this to God, you are never giving it back. And
Right.
like honestly, like kind of got like convicted a little bit. It was like, man, is my life like is all of who I am like dedicated to God, where I can get it back if I need to, and do a little bit extra to get back what I want, or is it full like all or nothing, like heart and soul, wholehearted devotion to God? So even Leviticus,
Yeah.
That's
hey,
good,
if you're
bro.
listening
That's
to this,
good.
you're in Leviticus. God through Leviticus.
That's good.
And the thing that I loved about it the most too is like they had to do all these steps and take all these necessary actions to like build something so the presence of God can dwell into it.
Yeah.
And then when you literally think about like that same thing that they had to do all these separate things, like literally it's Leviticus is about the Levites that literally are like the chosen. Not only are they the chosen people to God, right? They're not just dedicated to God, but they're literally their whole lives and what they do is devoted to God. And like they have to do all these steps, and it's like, man, you read and you're like, not even read it. I listen to it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
wow, like this is a lot. This is overwhelming. Like, and honestly, it gets boring until you're like, wow, this is literally talking about this same like presence that lives in all believers. Like they had to take all these necessary steps and things just to even have it somewhere.
Yeah.
And we're able to have it everywhere we go.
Everywhere,
Like that's
no matter
not to
the
go on
circumstance.
a rant about that, but it's so crazy. Like you think about all that stuff, you're like, God was showing Moses all these ways to do this, and now we just have it like that. It's one decision that changes the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
So I know you already mentioned this, especially just like with your dad, campus pastors, especially even like youth pastors in the past that we just brought up a few names.
Yeah.
Shout out to all those guys, those men of God. But currently, right now at the moment, what men of God are in your life specifically to like challenge and help to grow you? So not only you're the best youth pastor and whatever opportunities and positions and roles and titles can come after that, but just like for you to be present as a husband, as a man of God in your own life, as someone to connect and talk to your mom, talk to your family, be a family person, build relationships, be a youth pastor. How does that what are those men and what do they do and what does that look like for you?
Yeah, so obviously moving to a new city, you kind of have to rebuild what you had. You obviously keep the same relationships, but it does look differently just because proximity does matter. Obviously,
100%.
my dad, we've talked about him. I mean, he's someone I text, if not on the daily, at least 3 or 4 times a week. Called him the other day. So definitely still he's that kind of that voice in my life, mentor, friend, my campus pastor, Pastor Allen. And then also too, we have a very strong group of guys on our staff team. Really like I'm the youngest one on our staff team.
Okay.
But really like we're pouring into each other. Like one of my favorite things about working at this campus, specifically with this team, with this people, is that we are best friends. Like we love what we do and we love the fact that we're doing it with each other. So like Hunter, Matt, got another Matt, Will, really like those 4 guys on our staff team. Really we're just building each other up. Whether it's asking the hard questions, whether it's like keeping each other accountable, texting each other. Also, you just need people to cut up with, like have fun with, laugh a lot, joke about random stupid stuff. So I'd say definitely the guys who are on our staff team, my dad, campus pastors, and then I'd say those are probably my main mentor, like accountability, friendships that are going to be more in that level. But then we also have some couple friends as well, who are staff, and really are just like, hey, we're friends, like we're best friends, like hey, let's go to Mellow Mushroom and do trivia night and try to win some money, just doing life together. So yeah, that's a little bit of what it looks like.
Gotcha. That's cool. It's like you're kind of able, like with those type of people in your life, it's not that there is a mask, but sometimes you get like, you're able to take the mask off sometimes and be like, I don't have to I can just be myself. I don't have to be like student director. I can just be Ben.
Yeah.
Like Gracie's my wife, and you just get to live life with other people. That's amazing.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's cool. So
Yeah.
'cause you can't. I try my best, and I think I do a decent job of like not being like all. I've definitely had to get better at it, but it being all like proper, buttoned up, and just like even with students, like you're going to get the real me, like you're going to like joke around stuff like that. But you can't be 100% like just on the front, like just some environments
they can sense it.
Yeah, some environments like obviously you want to be polished up, like you don't want to be all like ratchet or jank, you know what I mean? But like but just having those environments to where you can really take off the mask is super important, especially in ministry. And so definitely having those people where you can be like, hey man, life is not going well so far. Like this kind of sucks. So definitely you need those people.
That's great. And just to kind of get more in the roles position of what you do and how you do it, I know because you're not only because you're in students, but just overall being at a campus and being at a Highlands church and just church in general, like parents with these students are very, very important. I know you know that, of course.
Yeah.
And my question is like, what are some ways that you interact with them and like with students and their families to not only just better understand like the family dynamic and who the student is like outside of church, because that can sometimes be very different.
Yeah.
But also just like where not just the church, but you as like a student director and just what you do in day-to-day, so how you can better like fill roles for them, not only for the families, but also the students, like help out in any way. What are some ways that you do that?
Yeah. Again, like the family dynamic is so important, like especially with parents and guardians. You want to make sure that, yes, the students are feeling comfortable, like they're plugged in, but like you have to build trust with parents. Like you have to really put in that sweat equity. So some of the ways that I've done that personally is just because sometimes a lot of the times, honestly, parents are just like, all right, drop off my kid. I'll see you when I pick you up. And then that's it. So a lot of times that's just like me, like our team having to be very intentional with, hey, if we see a student on a Sunday and they're with their family, like going up to them and being like, hey, we haven't met before, but my name's Benaiah. I serve as our student pastor here. And that alone, you just taking the time to see see that student with their family and like you going up to them and talking with them and like just that a face to a name and having maybe just one conversation like that builds so much trust that helps parents when they drop off their students for motion midweek at 6:30 or whatever, like okay, I'm at peace, like leaving my student here where they're going to be taught like biblical truth, like being poured into, connected. So that helps a lot, especially when you're first starting out. So when we first moved up, like it was like, I'm going to try and talk to every single family, every single parent, every single student that I possibly can, just because I'm new guy in town. Like some have been here since Huntsville like started, like, I mean, like born and raised here. And so for motion night, transportation, getting buses and stuff, when students would go to their cars because their parents were there, I would walk their student to their car and try to at least like, hey, my name's Benaiah. Hey, thank you so much. For motion night specifically, we have a group communication with parents that I'll send stuff in pretty regularly, and especially with like one time we had inclement weather time, and we're 30 minutes away from home, and so having to communicate to parents there, those situations, like how you handle those and how you communicate. Like it's one and done. Like if you mess it up, like trust is going to be hard to rebuild. But like having that has helped, like, especially after a good night, getting students home safe from being 30 minutes away, and just sending in a simple message of, hey, thank you so much for trusting us with your student. Like your prized possession, like literally like one of the most important things and people in your life, and just sending like just that kind of communication. But yeah, those are some of the biggest things, really just being intentional. And then seeing every moment as an opportunity to connect with a parent or with a family. So, and then what was the other part to your question? So how do I interact with them? And then,
Oh yeah, and like, is there any? Here's like a better question with that. Is like, has there ever been an opportunity that you've been able to fill like a role, whether it is you go to a high school basketball game, or you, hey, I can't like I've had moments like this, especially with your wife's family, of like, hey, I can't go home, like I need to have somewhere to stay. Can y'all please help me? Like being able to have just real outreach and real like that's your heart, especially not even just that's just you as a person, but also as like as a student director. Moments like that.
Yeah, I mean, going to sports events, super important. Also too, like speaking at school clubs, so like First Priority, like Fellowship of Christian Athletes, FCA. That's super important too, because I think that gets you outside of your environment. And I think being in a city too, you need, like being in a city, especially with Huntsville, like obviously like Alabama, like Bible Belt, but you have so many people who are moving to Huntsville from the north, from different countries. And so really like, yes, Bible Belt, but especially like Huntsville, like full of freaking NASA engineers, like defense missile contractors, very intellectually minded. And so I think especially too, like we're seeing a shift of like, hey, we can't just expect people to just come into it. Like we need to bring it to them. So outreach there is super important. We fed a local high school football team around here, a little bit further away, about 20 minutes away. So doing outreaches and stuff like that is super important. Really, end of the day, especially what I tell our small group leaders is like, there's a verse, I forgot the actual reference, but it talks about how, you know, we loved you so much that we didn't only just share the gospel with you, which hands down is the most important thing. Like giving the gospel, but we loved you so much that we shared our lives with you too. Wow. So, does that mean like, hey, I'm going to text you like, hey, you mentioned you have a test on Friday. I'm going to text you Friday afternoon. Hey, how you feeling? How'd you do? Just remembering those things. And like, cause I think a temptation that we can often have is if I'm serving on Wednesday night, it's just a Wednesday night serve. But like pouring your life, investing into these young people, is just so important with interacting with them, investing into them, and really just that they know that you're going to be there for them when life gets hard.
100%.
Good. And so students just need to feel that confidence of knowing, hey, like I have someone who's in my corner.
That's great.
So I don't know if that answers your question, but
no, that's amazing. I love that.
All right, Ben. So who is someone besides God that kind of gives you that passion to just essentially get out of bed every morning? Like who's that other person in your life that like God may have placed in your life and just, you know, just is there for you, supports you, kind of like gives you, I'm not going to say a reason, but like, makes you excited to be alive, to have the gift of life on earth?
Definitely my wife, Gracie, your sister.
All right, you passed. He passed the test, everybody. He passed.
That's crazy.
You know, he was going to have to say that, or like, you know, me and my dad would have to jump him, and you know that'd be ugly.
Y'all have to drive
drive a little bit. So he passed the test, guys. He's good.
I'm good.
That's awesome. That's really sweet.
Yeah, definitely Gracie. Especially we're just for context, Gracie and I, we met sophomore year of high school. We're going to be going on knowing each other for 7 years.
Wow, that's wild.
Which is crazy.
Well, how long have y'all been married again?
Almost 2 years. So 2 years in May. 2 years in
May. Yeah, that's crazy.
Crazy. So high school sweethearts, got plugged in, knew each other, met at a mutual friend's birthday party. And then from there, a friend group was formed that night, hung out in friend grouped a lot. And it was one of those things where it's like, I tell students this all the time. There's no such thing as a girl and guy best friend. Like one of them is going to catch feelings.
So true, bro.
You know what I mean?
It does not. It does not work.
I definitely caught feelings first. I was like, man, she's kind of cute. You know what I mean?
Pretty girl.
And so, and with students too, like, I mean, we were 15 when we met. And so I told her, I was like, hey, I like you, but like let's wait to date. Let's really.
Y'all both had a lot of growing up to do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, okay, if your mom can take us to the movies, mine can pick us up, you know?
Exactly. Right.
Like, what are we doing here, guys? And so I told her, I was like, obviously too, letting our parents speak into it. And just like, hey, we're not gonna, I told her, I was like, hey, I like you. And then it was like the awkward silence of like, are you going to tell me you like me back? And she did, just, wasn't super awkward. Like, hey, like, I want us to be best friends. Like, I want to know what you like. I want to know what you love. I want to know what you can't stand hardly. So really, like, that was our, like, hang out in friend groups a lot. And then eventually, like, when, turn 16, you can drive, and finally started to actually, it's like, all right, let's go on a date. Let's go to Cheesecake Factory, get to hang out. And then we both went to the same college, went to Highlands College. And then, like I said before, got married a week afterwards. So
crazy. That's so crazy.
And really, too, best advice I give to people is like, hey, marry your best friend. And that's what we did.
That's amazing.
And take her to Cheesecake Factory, fellas.
Yep.
Take her to Cheesecake Factory.
Don't do Sonic. Don't, take her somewhere nice, pay for the check. But yeah, so really that's kind of that's the person who I wake up and is like, all right, I got purpose, passion, outside of the Lord, obviously. So,
of course, right. Number one, that's why I want to make sure like preface this, like, that's a good question, God but first. It's like God's number one, of course.
And
but
it was person that he placed in your life.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And like last question, I want it to be a very like simple, but also just more like very intentional question of like, what is one way that you are trying like to grow in your relationship with God every day? Like, what's one thing every day that you're like, if I do this one thing, if I do this one action, I make this one choice a day, I'm growing in my relationship with God.
Yeah, and I think very like simple. Like I think a lot of times we can overcomplicate it, but like just the simple stuff of like reading your Bible, like worshiping, praying, really seeking after God. And I think too, being in ministry, like it can be hard to just be like, all right, I prepped my message, I studied it for this, but like having time in the mornings, whenever it may be, to really just slow down, not be rushed. That's something honestly I'm trying to do better in, is like not rush my time with the Lord, but really like take time, slow down. Just because like since I am in a like ministry leadership role, like that is the fuel, is that personal time, personal devotion. So yeah, like reading my Bible every day, prayer, worship, your Bible, and then also too just being plugged into godly community. I'm not going to try and reinvent the wheel, but like that simple fact of like just cultivating your relationship with Jesus. Because if you don't have that, I mean, you're not gonna maintain yourself very.
You ain't going nowhere.
You ain't going nowhere. So yeah, I think just the daily surrender, daily time with the Lord. And I mean, I'll be honest. Like, there's some times, some days where I'm like, I miss it, but like trying to make it my best. Of like, I'm not gonna miss 2 days in a row. Like I'm like like read my Bible every day, even if it's a simple verse. Like just something to really cultivate my relationship with the Lord. So yeah, I'd say that, and then also too like doing obviously that Bible study. Not for just a message though. Like learning about scripture. I have like this online seminary thing that I do where it's like different videos about different subjects. There's like a deep dive about different chapters of the Bible, different hot topics. And so just doing a deep dive on certain areas and stuff just to learn more about the Bible, kind of advance my theology a little bit more. And so those are the two ways. So intentional study and then just intentional time with the Lord in the mornings.
That's amazing. And like that's like we said, not being rushed. Like that's something that we definitely struggle with in all of our lives. And thank you for being so vulnerable with your questions and being like real open and honest. Yeah. One thing that we always, like I said, always want to do this with every guest. And I know for you, it's more of a heart thing. It's not like a business thing. It's not it's like your role and position, and like what is something that you would want to plug or just say. Yeah. So whoever listens to this, that's an outsider or an insider, somebody that knows you very well, what's something that you want to leave with and let them know?
I think first thing that comes to mind is, hey, if you're near one of our 26 campuses and you're in middle school or high school, come check out Motion. Like, come check us out on a Wednesday night. Get plugged into Godly community if you're not already plugged into a local church. And I'd say this too, like if you're, whether you're straight out of high school and you're in college, or if you're a grandparent with kids out the house and you're developing your grandparents, like pour into this next generation. Like, take time, just because, I mean, like they're going through so much stuff. And I think there can be a stigma around students of like, oh, you're so young. There's no chance you're going through anything serious.
Right.
But just like really taking time. I know we talked about mentorship a lot, like mentors, like young people, have someone you're pouring into as you have someone who's pouring into you. So yeah, that's what I'd say. If you're anywhere near our campuses, come check out Motion. If you're out of high school or middle school, come serve, come pour into this next generation.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Ben.
Yeah, absolutely.
We love and appreciate you.
Love you.
Thank you, bro.
Guys,
yeah, absolutely.
I love this man. I love that this man is a part of my family. I love that he's up serving God in Huntsville. Like, there's nobody here, but give it up for this guy, honestly. What a blessing.
Yeah. Thank y'all for having me. Love you guys. It was a lot of fun.
Love you too.